Hello everybody. I thought I'd make an impulsive video about why I am invested in Tesla. I'm quite, for me, I'm quite heavily invested in Tesla as far as a big wedge of my wealth is in the shares in Tesla. And basically what's driven me to do that is learning about the company, following their ethos and everything they do over quite a period of time. I wish I'd gotten in earlier than I did. That's all I'll say now. And I think not that I would give any financial advice and encourage people to do things with their money, like you need to make your own decisions with it, but now is a really good time to be making moves in any form with your money, as far as buying assets. One of those things are a stock or property. So for me, I know stocks now. I'm learning all the time. So where I'd put any cash I had would be in stocks or property. So yeah, basically the reason I am invested in Tesla is, well, the number one thing probably is the man behind it, which is Elon Musk. Now, I encourage you to go out yourself and do a bit of research on Elon, because he's a genius. He's an amazing person. He's an engineer and a genius, and he's involved in a few companies. He actually started PayPal. It was named some Xcoin or something before PayPal. That was the first company he really started that he ended up selling to eBay and making wealth from. And then he used his wealth from that transaction to basically start up Tesla and SpaceX. And now he's also got Neuralink, which is like a mind-reading software implant for your brain that's basically meant to interface with internet and technology faster than your thumbs on a little keyboard can. So he is a very clever guy, and that's one really important thing about for me about Tesla, is that he is the founder of the organization. So, you know, him being there and in such a prominent position in the company, and I think he will continue to be for a long time, really gives me faith in the company's longevity. Yeah, so I've been, oh, by the way, if you could, right now, down in the right-hand corner, give me a little thumbs up, just down there. And also hit subscribe if you can, because I just thought I'm likely to put this video on YouTube. So you never know, if enough videos and content comes out that people like, maybe one day I'll get paid to make videos, which would be great. You don't ask, you don't get, so I may as well ask you to do it. Like and subscribe. Cheers. Yeah, so some other really cool things about Tesla that I like. Basically their ethos as a company of sustainability and longevity, and making the world a better place by reducing pollution, you know, turning the world environmentally friendly and towards EVs instead of internal combustion engines. So that's their primary business that people know about, is the electric cars, which personally, having taken a test drive in a Tesla Model 3 some time ago, a performance version, it blew me away. Like, I currently drive a Golf Type R 2016 model, and that's, you know, it's an all-wheel drive 2-litre turbocharged car. It's quite fast. They're really fun to drive, my Volkswagen Golf R, but the Tesla made the Golf feel like a wheelbarrow. It was warp speed. It was incredibly fast, and it handled, and the vision and the technology in it, the sound system. You just have to go and test drive one, and then you'll understand what I mean, why I'm enthusiastic about that car in particular. Really excited about the Model Y that's just starting to be released to the public now. So yeah, one cool thing that I like about what they do, like their battery technology. Now, that's the limiting factor in Tesla as a business. They've actually got more demand than they can supply for as far as electric vehicles. So they're making vehicles, and they cannot keep up with the demand for these vehicles. Like, there's orders and orders and orders, and basically that's probably the best problem that you can have as a business, in any form of business, is you cannot keep up with demand. Now, the bottleneck in the demand scenario is basically something they're constantly working on. At this point, it's battery technology. So there's not enough batteries in the planet on the planet to basically fill the vehicles that they need, that there's orders for. So what do? They built gigafactories. They built battery factories. They're constantly upgrading their battery technology. This month in April, they're expected to have a battery investor day, which I'm thoroughly looking forward to, because they're about to basically announce a few things with new battery tech. Rumors I've heard are 1,000,000-mile batteries. So that's not a battery that can do 1,000,000 miles on one charge, but it's a battery that can be used and exhausted for up to 1,000,000 miles, which is, if you think of a standard internal combustion engine car, I think their range, they're expected to drive 200,000 to 300,000 kilometers in a lifespan, or if it's a super good build, maybe 400. You don't see many cars that have done more than 300,000 kilometers, but this battery is going to do 1,000,000 miles in its lifespan, which is absolutely incredible. Yeah, and as far as why they are a good investment in my eyes, is basically, I've looked at their financial situation. I go on Yahoo Finance quite regularly to do this kind of research, and I read their financial statements. So that's their balance sheets, their cash flows, everything. And what I see currently is basically they're spending about $1.5 billion a quarter when they're at full speed. But I think they made this is just off the top of my head, I should have had this in front of me, but they made $2.4 billion last quarter. So their cash flow was massively positive. And what they've got in the bank right now is like $7 billion in cash sitting there. They've got access to another $3 billion in lines of credit from companies. So even if production, I think it was something like they've got $12 billion in accessible liquid cash to weather this illness 19 storm that we're currently having. So yeah, when they're burning $1.5 billion a quarter at full steam, that to me says they're easily able to last a year and a half. If they were spending at their current pace, which they won't, they will have stripped back costs. And basically come out on top. And if you look at other automakers, legacy automakers, for example, Ford, GM, like you look at the debt on their balance sheets and what it's costing them, and their revenue is like non-existent. I think they're in serious trouble. I can see bankruptcy for those legacy automakers in the near future unless there's some serious government bailouts. So yeah, I think Tesla, and their market cap at the moment, something like $100 billion. There's only one company that's got a bigger market cap than Tesla in the auto industry, and that's Toyota. So I think last time I looked, they were something like 200 billion or something. But with Tesla, you've got to understand that it's not just vehicles that they're producing. So Tesla builds solar battery packs. They've in Adelaide in South Australia a few years back, they put in a full battery pack system to put into the power grid, and it's primarily with power stations, traditional power stations, coal burning power stations. It's like a constantly on source of power for people. So these things are always pumping energy out of them at all times of the hours of the day, and typically around 6 p.m. people turn their kettles on and watch Neighbours or something like that. And at that point, there's more demand for the power that's being produced by these power plants than there is supply. So what they traditionally use in this situation, when there's not enough power going through to power all of our kettles at 6 p.m. is they'll have a thing called a peaker plant, which is basically a small power station, again coal burning, that basically kicks into line at 5:30 p.m. and starts producing excess power to power into the grid to keep it going. But what Elon did is he produced this huge battery pack, which he put in Horndale, I think the town's called, in South Australia. And what it does is when there's more supply than demand during the day, it stores the energy in the battery pack, loads of energy. And then obviously when the kettles get flicked on at 6 p.m, it's excess energy, so they don't need to burn coal to power your kettle and your neighbours. So it's things like that. Like, they're so innovative. They've basically They've got the battery packs. They've got solar. The new solar roof tiles they're building for premium houses. What they are is, you know, when you got a new premium house and you want to put shingles or tiles on it, you put your tiles down on the top of the house, and then if you wanted, you'd put solar cells on top of that shingle. So it doesn't look that great. If you look at the top of a Coles building or something, you'll know what I'm talking about. They've all got solar on them these days. But these new tiles that Tesla have come out with and are now ramping production on are basically inbuilt solar cells within the tile, so it looks just like a normal tile, and they're getting the cost down to be roughly the same as a tile. So they're such a disruptive company. They've disrupted the auto industry with electric vehicles that now by far and away outperform petrol vehicles, diesel vehicles, internal combustion vehicles in all ways. They're disrupting the roofing industry, which is a huge market across the world. They're disrupting through Starlink, the internet, rural internet services industry. They're just so innovative. It's uncanny. So yeah, right now with what's going on around the world in this illness 19, I think there's never going to be a better time in our lives to look at where our money is and potentially put it to good use for the longevity of your wealth as a person, financial wealth I'm talking about here. So I would, yeah, if I get a few comments and likes on this video, I might make a few more explaining a few more thought processes, but I'll leave it at that for now. I'll upload this, see how it goes. If I get some good feedback, maybe I'll put another one up. So yeah, again, if you can right now, smash the like button, subscribe, and if you're interested by anything I had to say, I'll try and write down some content before the next video, because obviously this felt a bit scrambled. It was all off the cuff, so I didn't have my thoughts in order. But I have a fair bit of knowledge in my brain that I've gathered from other people, other sources that, you know, I've got my own little network here that I'm sure some people will see this, that maybe it'll trigger something in them to become interested in investing, and I think right now is the best time that in our lives for becoming an investor of assets. So yeah, cheers guys, hope you have a really good day and you enjoyed this video. See ya.